Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Next Issue podcast. I wanted a Quentin Tarantino days in to just start with the outro and then work our way, work our way back through the show.
Nice.
Uh, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Doing all right.
A little
Hanging
tired.
in there.
I love the enthusiasm at 8 in the morning Saturday. This is why people show up to watch in droves just to get some of that energy you guys are putting out.
Yep.
It is incredible. I'm gonna send everyone some coffee gift cards so we can get real caffeinated before the show.
I will happily.
Working on it.
'Cause I'm in the middle of an episode of a Snorks right now, so
Wait, hang on. Send me that live stream link.
The Snorks is how they woke up in the 80s, right?
Well, it's only some people.
That's how we got 4 Super Bowls in the 90s, right?
Exactly. I think this Snorks is self-reflexive. It exists because of so many people using cocaine. It just all comes around, right?
Do you think that's how that animated show came to be?
Snorks.
I wish you just call it the Snorks.
Snorks.
Yeah, exactly.
It really was like-
sitting around doing coke and go, this would be a great cartoon.
Exactly.
Kids love this.
Kids. You know what? There's a through line between Snorks and Less Than Zero, and it's 80s obsession with cocaine. So,
And that is a great segue to introduce the main topic of the show, not the cocaine part of it.
Cocaine.
Terrible for the algorithm, I'm sure. On our main topic, Jeff threw out a topic for today, since the Fall Guy film is coming out pretty soon. I think next week, maybe in a couple of weeks. We wanted to talk about what are some other TV shows, the forgotten TV shows that we could maybe reboot as a movie or something like that for the contemporary times. And yes, for anybody watching, The Fall Guy was a TV show. I didn't know that until these guys brought it up. You guys brought it up with that. When you made the video, Clay, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. I got a lot of views, so I'm on board.
You were like, "This is a
Love
cool
that
song or
song.
whatever," but
Yeah. It's a cool concept. It's funny name.
It's funny too because like people love the song but people don't want the reboot. People are like, don't reboot this, but like it's some sort of treasured property. It's a crime show about a stuntman.
I came across some episodes during. I didn't know they were making a reboot until the first trailer dropped. But I remember watching a few episodes of The Fall Guy during the pandemic, and I was like, "This is what needs to reboot. Like, this is such a crazy concept that this would totally make a great movie." And so I am glad that they did one, but I am still mad that they did not use the theme song in any of the promotions yet.
I bet. All right, I have a suspicion they're going to play it during the closing credits,
I have a feeling
Like-
it's probably
like an updated version by I don't know Tegan and Sarah or something. I have no idea.
God. Oh, fuck. Why? No. You got to use the original because it's Colt Seavers. It's Lee Majors singing the song. So either have him in as a cameo or drop his song in.
Is he still alive? Actually,
Let's find out.
Somebody in the comments of the video that Clay put together said that Ryan Gosling should sing a new version of the song.
oh, that's not bad. Actually, that's a really good.
He's
Yeah.
like,
Can he outdo just Ken though? Because
No,
that's
of course not. But they're going to ride that wave.
but this is Hollywood. They're just gonna try it over and over again until it's like dead on the
Exactly.
ground.
Exactly.
Lee Majors is alive.
Oh, well, then he absolutely has to make a cameo in some form or fashion. So.
Okay,
Yeah,
now
and there
can
are other
you,
people in the show, like Heather
Okay.
Thomas could show up too.
Clay, can you now cancel to make sure that he's not an asshole?
You
Those
know,
are the-
I'm
those
going to
are
tell
the-
you now. I think there are some stories about him back in the
Okay.
day.
That's how it goes nowadays, right? First of all, if you're talking about somebody that you haven't heard from in a while,
Right.
are they still alive? Are they an asshole?
Yeah. There's two searches you have to make, right? Insert name, are they still living? And then insert name / Me Too movement. And then it'll all come up. So, yeah. Yeah, it's not good.
All right. Well, I'm glad we started with the light and breezy on the show. As always. Here, let me.
Hey, you wanted us awake, so
that was not my idea. But don't worry. I got the best cleanser. Hold on.
Really, I never. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Thanks, Sam.
I do have to stop there.
Sam Jackson is our palate cleanser for anything that we do on this show.
Or really anything in life, honestly.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into it. Let's talk about some of the stuff we've been into for previously on. Let me kick things off because boy, have I been watching stuff.
Yeah.
So last week I talked about I wanted to watch 4 films. Right over that weekend. One of them I had already seen. It was Rebel Moon. We already talked about it. I don't even want to do a review for it, but I'll put it out someday. The other
it sounds
film,
like you're ripping a Band-Aid off with that one.
Well, the thing is, it's just like it's not the worst thing I've seen, but it's like not my favorite thing from Zack Snyder either. So I hate talking about things that are just like, okay,
Yeah,
like, there's not a lot to say, you know. Like if something's really bad, let's go for it, tear into it, or like make fun of it. But
so you're taking your time, you're slow-moing it.
that's right.
just peeling it a little bit at a time. Just
right. I don't know how to get the lens flare right, so I'm struggling with it. I need to get both Zack Snyder and J.J. Abrams on a call.
I was good. Who does the better lens flare, J.J. Abrams or Zack Snyder?
I think JJ does.
Yeah,
I think
he does too.
Zach's just better with the slow-mo. Yeah.
Now, who's better, JJ or Spielberg?
Well, Spielberg.
At just lens flare or overall?
At just lens
overall. Oh,
I mean, even lens flare.
Yeah, I think JJ is. I think he actually writes that in the script instead of like character development.
Can you imagine his storyboards? You know, he just has like a pre-packaged lens flare icon. He just dumps in whenever he wants it. So
no, I think he's got a rubber stamp, like a giant rubber stamp. He just dips in the ink.
It's a chunk kind, right?
Yeah. Somebody already he commissioned somebody do a lens flare for him. So it's
perfect. Cool. Perfect. I love it.
If you go to his house, he'll stamp you with it. All right. So like I said, I want to watch 3 movies. The other 3 movies were Abigail, which is the new Universal horror. I haven't gotten to see that one, but I did go check out The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Oh, how is it?
See this.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be based on true events that led to the creation of MI6 and inspired James Bond's Ian Fleming, is it? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and now of course Henry Cavill's in it. Alan Rickson's in it. Like, I love it. I'm a big Guy Ritchie fan, and I like that he's evolved from like the whole shaky cam stuff, but he's still like the stuff that which I don't mind. I like it too. I think it makes his movies very frantic and just kind of puts you in that headspace. But you know, his quippy dialogue, it's a lot of fun. It's always got that British charm. So that's really like I appreciate that. And yeah, this was it's pretty entertaining film. It's really funny. I like the cast a lot. Some really cool action scenes. So if y'all get a chance to watch it, whether either now or when it comes on VOD, I recommend it. Like I said, I think if you've been following Guy Ritchie films, he's been slowly changing the way he makes films. So yeah, this feels like the next step in that.
Man from Uncle was fantastic, and now he's getting to use Superman twice. So this is very cool.
And then I also went to watch Spy Family Code White. This is based on the Spy Family anime. It's a standalone story. You don't even, as long as you've seen like a couple of episodes or know the main premise of the show, like you can jump right into it. So for those that don't know, like Josh, I can't believe you're not reading that on Shonen Jump, Josh. It's one of the more popular ones.
I do need to actually. I know my
Your daughter reading it?
yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you guys should go.
At least so.
So the premise of the film is there's two countries, they're at war, so they send the spy Twilight over to prevent war, right? That's his mission. He has to get close to some guy. And in order to do that, the best way to infiltrate him, his this like ruler of the country or like this really important person is through having a child and having them enroll in school and become friends with his kid so that they'll be invited to this event that happens every year. So this spy goes out and adopts a little girl and also has to find a fake wife. And then they become a family of spies. But obviously, they don't think they know, but the little girl she can read minds, so she knows that he's a spy. And then it turns out the mom is like an assassin. So a little bit of Mr. and Mrs. Smith,
Mr. and Mrs. Yeah.
a lot more cutesy and stuff. So it's really fun. I definitely recommend the anime, and the film was great. I love when they get a chance to expand on the world. So, but the big thing I want to talk about, probably my favorite show of the year, Shogun just ended.
I need to watch it so
I've
bad.
heard great reviews.
Yeah.
It's so good. Just great performances. Just a really interesting story. Really beautiful visuals. Like it's just really cool. I love feudal Japan era type of stuff. Like just the aesthetics and the visuals and like it's really interesting. The show is mainly in Japanese. When they're speaking English, is actually supposed to be Portuguese, because colonizers are going to colonize, or at least but the show's great. Just like some really strong performances. I don't even want to get into anything. I did reviews for every episode. So if you guys want to know more, go check those out. They're in the channel. But I think between this, Fallout, and X-Men 97, those are like my 3 top shows right now for the year. Which is wild because I also didn't know anything about Fallout. So it's just really, really good. Like it's incredible how accessible both of these shows are, right? Because they're both building a brand new world, Shogun, Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if you have no experience with it, like it's a very welcoming show. So yeah, quite enjoyed that. So
I just was looking this up. I did not realize that this Shogun is still based on the James Clavell Shogun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'd been on the show in the past 3 weeks, one of my picks would have been they did a humble bundle of audiobooks of all of his like Shogun Japanese series. But I think it's over now.
Yeah.
But didn't they do a made for TV like during Sweet? So
yeah.
Daniel, you should try to track that down. The old like
when did that?
Like
was it
ABC or NBC or something?
Was it Shogun specifically or another one like King Rat or something?
I think it was Shogun.
Was it? Okay.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was Shogun. I have to look. Shogun miniseries. I don't know.
Shogun the musical. But that's all I've been watching. So I'm gonna throw it over to Clay for some non-comic stuff, and then we'll get around to the comics on the second round, or if not. So
okay. Last night Joe Bob did his drive-in special with a film called The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Have you guys ever seen this? It is amazing. It is a great horror flick with Brian Cox in it. It just takes place in a morgue.
Wow.
And anything else I tell you is spoilery. But if you love like Brian Cox, just from playing Hannibal or being the big bad in X2 or Succession, anything you've seen him in, he's really great in this. Emil Hirsch plays his son, and they're both are coroners doing autopsies on bodies, and that's the whole movie. So
my favorite Brian Cox performance, I know what you're thinking. I'm gonna say X-Men United. It's not. It does the voice of the McDonald's commercials.
Because he can deliver it. He can deliver it.
He makes me want to go
good.
get a Nick McMuffin every time.
Well, and I have to say as well, the McDonald's jingle is just him quietly going da, 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 da. Like that's what always ends in my head. So
Yeah, it's
Real quick, sorry, Clay.
go
Leonard Cohen's got a hot take.
very hot.
I disagree.
wow.
Very, very much so. I think it's definitely maybe not what you would expect from a show like that, which I think that's the cool part.
Wow, that's a lukewarm take. He usually is a big fan.
I know
I
Leonard
really
Kim
kinda-
usually hyping up the shows, but it is. I agree, it is fantastic. So
Somebody
go ahead,
check
Clay.
on Leonard Kim. Is he okay?
He's been hacked. Leonard Kim's been hacked.
On Tubi, they have all the Trancers series. Have you guys ever seen Trancers with Jack Death?
Mm-mm.
It's Tim Thomerson, who was a comedian back in the day, playing this future detective who goes back in time to fight these weird aliens. It's a Full Moon production, so the guys who do like Puppet Master and those kinds of films, that's where Trancers started from. And so there's like 5 movies in the series. Like they go back so far. In the first film, his co-star is Helen Hunt, who is like 18 years old.
Oh my god! Wow.
Yeah, they're wild and fun, and I love Tim. He's just a great character actor, and they just let him kind of do his own thing in these films, and they're just fun alien bounty hunter movies.
My favorite part of the show is when Clay says like he says a sentence, and I know like 2 of the words that he said in it.
We should do a segment where we just break down what I say so that
Yeah.
people understand it.
I need to start annotating the shows afterwards, like dropping links to Tracers, Tim Tan. I didn't know what you were talking about until you brought in Helen Hunt, and I was like, all right, we're back in, baby. This is how I do it.
Just because you know her from Twister.
That's right.
I think that's the charm of the show, is because whenever we talk about like wrestling, you can see the question marks over other people's heads. Whenever Daniel talks about anime, I'm just like,
yeah. Whenever I talk about anything,
In and out of the anime, I'll be like, oh yeah, oh no. What? Google?
Josh is going to start dropping academia takes.
very, very hot ones.
And then the only other thing I watched, YouTube, Sid and Marty Krofft have a channel, and they did like a live stream where they just dropped a ton of their old shows.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I just sat in there with a bunch of Gen Xers because I know nobody else is watching it but just us, because we grew up with these weird shows. Sid and Marty Krofft were these like, it's like Jim Henson, but on like hallucinogens. And so they made these weird shows that were aimed at kids, but very like drug influenced. Like HR Puffin stuff was about this kid who went to this magical land, and everyone there's a puppet, and it's really strange. There's a show called Sigmund and the Sea Monsters where these 2 kids live on the beach, and they meet meet Sigmund, who's kind of a nerdy sea monster among his family, and they just get into hijinks. There's all these weird shows, and they're great to watch. But the interesting thing, since we're doing a show about reboots, everyone in that channel watching it didn't want any of these shows rebooted. They just felt they were too good. But I was like, they weren't drawing a crowd or anything. And I know that like Electra Woman and Dyna Girl, they've rebooted, I think, twice now.
Yeah.
And it just has been successful, not too good. Amazon did Sigmund and the Sea Monsters a couple of years ago, and I didn't even hear about it until I was researching this. But Sid and Marty Krofft, their YouTube channel has a lot of great stuff on there. You can watch the original Land of the Lost. They were dropping series episodes left and right. So there's a lot of content out there. It was fun.
Is the most popular reboot of Sid and Marty Krofft stuff that Banana Splits horror movie? I feel like it probably is.
Oh God, I'd hate to think so. Yeah, because I know I tried watching that and it's really fucking terrible.
I feel like all those movies are terrible. It's like,
are they Land of the Lost?
Yeah, Land of the Lost.
oh, good point. That was rebooted, right?
Yeah, but I don't know anyone who's seen it. Yeah, Will Ferrell and
Weird.
Danny McBride and
Oh.
the girl from the show with Lee Pace. I cannot think of her name.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Anna
from Hackers?
something.
I mean, from Call to
Which
Catch
one?
Fire?
Oh yeah. No, it's not
the pie one where they work at the pie
Yeah,
shop.
the pie one.
And he can
Pushing Daisies.
Pushing Daisies. Pushing
Anna
Daisies.
Friel.
Pushing Daisies. Yeah.
Anna Friel.
Huh.
Damn, that was Lee Pace, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like baby Lee Pace. I mean, that was him like before he became Lee Pace. So
And that is a great show.
it's a great show. It's the first thing I ever saw him in, which is why when like suddenly he was like playing all these villains, I'm like, wait, the sweet guy from Pushing Daisies. So
I feel like
Yo Gabba Gabba is a good spiritual inheritor of like.
yes, that's an excellent point. Yeah, that is absolutely yeah. Huh, okay.
If you see Lee Pace in *Halt and Catch Fire*, you believe the transition.
Oh,
That-
Yeah, I was like, it's weird to see him in *Halt and Catch
Yeah.
Fire* and like Pushing Daisies. They're completely opposites.
Right.
I'm like, he can act.
Oh, he's very good.
I
Yeah.
wish they could bring Ronan back somehow. I like how they brought him back in Captain Marvel, but man, yeah, his Ronan's pretty great.
hmm
Just so we can watch him get stepped on by Deathbird.
Fuck yeah! But just the fact that he like bathed in Kree blood, that's his intro. That's so cool. It's so dark.
Very, very Harkonnen.
Very.
Ah,
That's all the shows I've been watching.
Okay. Let me throw it over to Jeff. Do you have any non-comic stuff? I think you may not.
Not really. I didn't have much time. I was doing a lot of reading this week. I mean,
okay.
I could talk some wrestling and American Idol. That's really all I've watched this
Okay.
week.
then
nice.
let me go over to Josh. You have one non-comic thing, but it's a good segue into comics.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, well, I have two actually, but
Go for it.
so I have so much stuff I want to watch. It's kind of piling up until after the semester is done when I can breathe. But we have been at night when we eat dinner. We have finally been watching Girls 5 Eva.
So
And-
good.
Oh my god! I will say this: I felt like the first season or two when it was on Peacock was kind of like hit or miss of like all the shows that team has produced. And I know it's like a different show creator, but it's sort of that Robert Carlock, Tina Fey jam. I thought it was the one that was kind of like the least constantly funny. But man, we're in season 3 now when it goes to Netflix, and they are just doubling down. And that show is killing. It is so good.
Oh wow! I've only seen the first season. I didn't know there were two.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, you've got to keep going. Each season gets better and better. In season 3, there is a joke in season 3 where they set it up in season 1 where every season has kind of an overarching plot of them kind of getting back into being a band. So the first season is just them reforming, right? Second season is them producing their album. And this third season is them going on tour. And there's a joke in there where they end up in a small Midwestern town, and they come to discover that this, it's very topical. One of the characters is pregnant, and she's having an ultrasound in the town. And because it's post Dobbs, a senator is there in the room to make sure nothing bad is happening. Yeah. And then they find out that this same senator owns the club they're going to play at, and actually owns all the clubs in the Midwest that they've signed on to play on. So their initial resolution was they were just going to sing made up covers of oh fuck, I just blanked on his name.
David Bowie.
No. Who's the
Weird Al.
oh god damn it.
Jim Croce.
Jim and Diane. Who's that guy?
Oh, John Cougar Mellencamp.
Yes. So they're doing John Cougar Mellencamp covers, but they're inventing their own. So it's just this constant joke about John Cougar Mellencamp songs. But then they decide, no, we're going to sing our songs, right? And they go out and they start singing them, and the owner runs over and you just see him. He pops open this thing and it's like push in case of emergency, and he pushes it and a rope falls down. He starts ringing this bell and he's like, I'm calling a Footloose. No dancing, no singing. And I nearly fell out of my chair. It is hilarious. It's so good. So I really hope Netflix doesn't fuck this up and cancel it already, which they're notorious for doing. I hope it comes back for a 4th season at least.
Oh,
so.
I just got a text. It's been canceled.
Damn it!
All right.
Oh, and he did this.
So Peacock sold it to Netflix?
Yes.
They're all playing hot potato with all their shows. They don't give a
Are like what I'm trying to do. There's some other show I'm watching right now that started on one service and I'm watching it on another because it moved.
These,
Just like when Buffy left UPN or whatever.
Yeah. Anyway.
The streaming services remind me of like when you go out to eat with your friends, and like there's a few people that never finish their food, and there's a couple of guys that are always looking like, "Hey, you gonna finish that? What you gonna do with that? What you gonna do with that TV show over there? You gonna finish that? Like, don't take it away. We're not done with it."
I might nibble. It looks good.
Yeah. I can get into that. Yeah.
So anyway, highly recommend Girls 5 Eva if you guys have not watched it yet, or haven't watched past season 1. But yeah, yes, exactly. Boy, howdy, isn't it? But as a pitch perfect segue, I have been just periodically, I'll just go to YouTube and throw on what has been running for almost a week now, which is the 30th anniversary live stream of Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Now, I know I just said 30th anniversary, so if you're my age, don't think about that, right? Because I was in fucking college when that show came out. I feel so old.
Josh is 10, for those that don't know.
Thank you. Yes. Baby me had hair and no beard. But it is, man, that show is so good. It is so good. There is something about, and again, what I think is so hard to remember is that show spun off of a much more kids-oriented show called, help me out, Clay. Fuck.
The Brak Show?
No, that came later. No, there was a kids version. Like the albums they put out were from the kids show. And it kind of ran interstitially between shows on Cartoon Network. So this is all pre-Adult Swim. But it basically, what the hell was it? It's gonna drive me nuts. Anyway,
Well, I just love how prepared we come to the shows.
Go ahead, Danny.
Deep notes, just this show is all like just state of mind,
Steel trap memory,
right?
Stream of consciousness. We all need to go to Whole Foods and get some of fish oils and.
I'm making a list that I will invariably forget by the time we're done.
This is why every day when I get up, I play the New York Times puzzles to try to keep this thing sharp.
Hey, you're doing a much better job than I am.
Yeah, he already said that Space Ghost was 30 years old. So, see where this is
going. Thank you. See, that's the whole explanation.
Yeah, but that's the reboot of Space Ghost. The original Space Ghost is over 50 years old and started in 1967.
And originally, first sightings of Space Ghost were seen in caves in Europe from cavemen.
The Last Cow Space Ghost cave paintings.
So anyway, my point being, if you watched Space Ghost Coast to Coast and loved it, go check out this live stream. If you've never seen it, go watch this live stream. It is the thing that is so funny is, so they basically, when Adult Swim rolled out, they needed kind of like a headline show. And no, actually, this predates Adult Swim. This is kind of what led to Adult Swim. So then they made this late in the evening. I think it came out at like 11 p.m. Central Time. Short 15-minute show that was basically Space Ghost as a late night talk show host. And they would interview real people. And what I find so funny is the interviews supposedly were just done in this little black box that anytime they could get someone coming through, Georgia to come in and do it. And not even the voice of Space Ghost, one of the writers, the producers, would basically read the script in the room to them. And then they would just add all the animation later. So
yeah, they got some great guests at the time. I remember like Kevin Smith, he'd only done like 3 films by the time they had him on. God, like a lot of
I've been watching the live stream too. Willie Nelson's been on it.
Willie Nelson is classic. That's a classic one. Is it? Yeah. I think it's Sarah Jessica Parker is the one that leads to the constant joke of Space Ghost knowing about the sex. He's like, I'm quite a fan of the sex. It's so good.
It's like every awkward. So like for people that don't know, it's like Zach Galifianakis is between two ferns. That kind of awkward interviewing style.
Yeah,
if you're familiar with that. That's kind of, but it's like insane Gonzo kind of stuff. Like it's nuts.
We don't have enough time for Josh to explain to the kids what a late night talk show is. So you're gonna have to Google that on your own. But Josh, why don't you segue us into comics with that?
Yeah, so as a segue, one of the previews, which I think we all read for this week, was
I read your comic that you read. We'll do the review.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. All right.
That was a great segue. I appreciate it.
That was a beautiful segue.
All right.
I thought you were going to.
Yeah, I was like, that is so gorgeous.
The reason I shut it down is because it's not me the one I was doing it.
That's fair. That's fair. You are our fearless leader.
I'm number one on the call sheet.
So I have a whole stack of books from last week I haven't even gotten to yet. I haven't even picked up my books from this week. But the one I did get a chance to read was Fantastic Four, number 19. I will be perfectly honest with you. I liked it as I love this whole series. I love the whole noir feeling of it, right? I love making Alicia the kind of like the main heroine in this, right? And kind of so Clay, I don't think has read it. So when this issue starts off, apropos of no explanation at all, you are in a 1940s black and white noir detective story. Alicia Masters is the detective. Sue Storm shows up because her boyfriend, Reed Richards, has gone missing. And it just kind of sets up this great story. Now, without spoiling it, I'll say at the end of it, it explains why you got all that, right? But here's the thing. This was kind of, again, I liked the issue. If someone had just handed it to me apropos of nothing, I would have been like, oh, that was great, right? But compared to everything else that North has done in this series, this was the first one I kind of felt like this felt a little gimmicky. Like the way that North has been approaching a lot of these issues, this was the first one I just kind of felt like it didn't quite stick the landing, And so I hate to say it because, as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of this run. And if this is the first, I don't want to say bad issue because it's not bad, but if this is the first issue that wasn't up to the level of everything else so far, that's not a bad thing at all because it's still, pun intended, fantastic.
I do wonder this about that.
Yeah.
I think their next issue is the Blood Hunt tie-in. So I wonder if you just needed, like, I have to do one story because I don't want to get something started.
That makes sense.
Doing this tie-in. I just need to do this one and done.
But
I agree with you.
Okay.
It's not the strongest.
Yeah, and I mean, so that makes sense, I think, from a big picture perspective. I think the thing is, we've had other issues in this run like this, right? Mm-hmm. That are just, you kind of go in cold, you don't know what's happening, and by the end it all wraps up and it's always a chef's kiss. This is the first one that, like, I had to restart it like 3 times. I would read the first 2 pages and I'm like, it just didn't grab me as much. It was like, so, I just kept wondering what's going on here, right? And again, it all gets explained in the end, but it just, something about it just didn't click for me. So,
all right. So let me make a note. If I'm hearing you guys correctly, The women-led issue is not up to snuff. Got it. I'm sure the boys on the internet are gonna eat that up. We're gonna
Oh,
catch it out of context.
Man, I am so screwed now. All right, let's cut this whole bit, and I'm going to start again. This issue was amazing. Full stop. I'm done.
Is there anything on your stack that's next to you that you are like, this is the first one I'm gonna read?
Yes, actually. Let's see. Well, a lot actually. So, almost the whole stack. I have more of the Inner John.
Yeah.
So
I gotta get those.
this is next. Beware the Planet of the Apes, issue I think 4, which I need to read. I picked this up just for funsies because I'm pretty sure I had this issue when I was a kid. What I find interesting is, they're doing all these Secret War tie-in stuff because they're reissuing it.
Yeah.
What made sense was when they did the one before this, which is him returning with the black costume. That made sense, but now they're just going on like, see the adventures of Spider-Man right after he gets his black costume. And I'm like, he's fighting a dingus in this one.
Now they're just reprinting the Amazing Spider-Man series.
Yeah, exactly. But I do want to point out this is why I know as much as I do randomly about Jack-O-Lantern, because the dude was everywhere in the fucking 80s. I mean, just every issue Peter was fighting.
What was the Hulk hawking there? That Cookie Crisp? What was?
I'm sure it is. I remember those ads really well. Yeah,
Not a sponsor.
it's
here.
Cookie Crisp where you could get a free comic issue. And the thing I love about this is generally they just shove them into the box, so they always smell like Cookie Crisp, right? Anyway,
I love a dirty comic in my cereal.
Under Heist number 3, which I'm expecting to get weird. Helen of Windhorn number 2. I seen you guys talked about this last week.
I hope your students are better with instructions than you are, Josh, because I asked for one. I'm just kidding.
See, this is what you get when you do such a beautiful segue. He comes after you.
Yeah.
He's like,
Which again, when we're talking about Segway and I go from Space Ghost, I just assumed that's what that was.
I was on the same path.
Thank you. I'm glad it's not just me. Did anyone else read this last week? I was really curious.
I've never even
a romance.
seen that comic.
Okay, all right. I don't know. It looks good. I was just kind of curious. But anyway, and then of course this issue 2. I keep getting the pulp covers because why not? So anyway, that's it. So
all right, now let's go to Jeff. Now that we're talking
sorry,
about
Jeff.
now that we're talking comics,
Long list.
let's start off with the creature.
Yeah,
Black Lagoon lives. I love Gilman, so I'm not obviously as familiar with him as Frankenstein or all the other Universal monsters because I think he's just from the swamp. I don't know any things about him
From the Black Lagoon.
It's a lagoon.
That's right. What is he, Swamp Thing? No, he's Lagoon. He's from the Black Lagoon. Gilman. And so I'm wrapped in it so far. It looks pretty good. Not much happens in the first issue, but I'm down with it. I'm a big fan of Gilman. Like I said,
How's the art?
It's pretty good. Who's the artist? It is Matthew Roberts.
Okay.
Yeah, written by Dan
I actually really
Roberts
like
and
the
Rob
art.
Lee. Yeah, the artwork is really good.
Wait,
We
didn't read this because so my plan was for us to read this last show, but we didn't get the comps in time.
Nice.
So this is, according to the synopsis, and is this direct sequel to the film.
Okay.
I love the movie. The movie's great.
I think they all are, right? Because I think the Dracula one was definitely what's his name, Bela Lugosi.
Oh, okay. Which I still need to read that. So
Cool.
I also read the what issue is this?
Feral too.
Second issue of Feral. I'm going to talk about this and Man's Best together because let's talk about sad animal comics. Man's Best had a twist ending that I did not see come. Did anybody else read Man's Best?
I haven't.
It had a twist ending that I did not see coming, which it weirdly makes Man's Best the sadder of the two animal comics for the week. That's all I'll say, because Feral, as we all know, if you've read Stray Dogs, anybody out there, these are not happy stories. They're not the worst stories, but they are animals, suffering
in a
through
horror
life.
story.
In a horror story. We all know how happy everybody is in a horror story.
Oh.
I am Duke. We don't want to talk about this too much. I know Josh is not caught up, but it is awesome.
Oh man,
we're definitely seeing the beginnings of how G.I. Joe is coming together, and then how Cobra will eventually come together with Destro and all the other stuff tying up together.
I just my favorite thing is that they never stop like dropping in Transformers little bits in these books.
right? Yeah,
They keep reminding you. By the way, even though this is all like whatever's going on, it's very like Duke centric. Don't forget, the Transformers are out there. So I know
his
something.
His whole reason is because his buddy got killed by Starscream. The whole
right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, not just killed, like smashed into a jam.
Starscream squished Duke's buddy. And I do love that you're seeing, like, we get as we know him as General Hawk, but he's still like Colonel Hawk in the comic or whatever. So everybody's like one rank down from what we usually know them as.
At the end of this whole series is just leading up to a big promotion, like a medal ceremony at the end of Star Wars.
Exactly.
It's the end of Star Wars.
A lot of paperwork, like getting the promotion to pass and getting the right signatures and all that. So
that should be the annual that comes out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's just like the paperwork annual.
Does it overlap with wrestling? Is there a Private Slaughter who gets promoted to Sergeant Slaughter?
Private Slaughter's down at NXT right now. Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, issue 14. This thing only has one more issue left. This one kind of blew my mind because it's about the end of the world and these two people that find each other, fall in love. They create this kind of open utopian society in the middle of this wasteland of the world. And then everything goes haywire. And then we go back to our kind of post-apocalyptic ways where as the two main characters get older, and then they kind of come back here at the end of the story to try to finish the job.
Finish the story. But the whole thing, it just becomes about their relationship and how love and relationships are tough, and how they kind of equate that to the end of the world and how the end of the world is such a struggle for everybody. And it kind of blew my mind. So kudos to Jason Aaron on this. I emailed Boom
series.
last year about talking to Jason Aaron when this was coming out. So maybe when the book's done, if they're gonna do like a trade, I'll reach back out to them again because I know we would love to talk to him.
Oh, I will fangirl hard.
Yeah, I know, right?
Don't include Clay on that one. Got it.
Dude,
We'll keep Clay in the chat.
His books were fucking fantastic,
Yeah.
man. That Avengers Forever is like one of my all-time favorites now.
We can also talk to him about his upcoming Turtles. What's he going to do there?
Yeah, or heck, even just being there when they rebooted all the Star Wars comics. He wrote those, right? I mean, they were amazing. They were really great.
They're so fun.
Got it. Jason Aaron 4-hour show.
Perfect.
You want me to keep going, or do you want to do another round?
No, keep going. We'll just
Okay.
finish all your comics, and then Clay and I will finish our comics too.
I got Daredevil number 8. This was a $10 comic. Jesus.
Is it a special, like a big milestone?
Yeah, it's some kind of special anniversary issue celebrating 60 years without fear, but it's only legacy issue number 670. So in 30 issues, I'll have another giant.
Yeah. The worst part about those is that sometimes they just slap on an old issue at the end, and that's why it's so thick.
I hate that.
Yeah.
There is this cool. It's the good thing is that it is all original stories, and I think it's like 88 pages, so it's chunky. I mean, you kind of get your money's worth. But they have these fun little cartoons at the
Magnet stick.
Those are good.
Yeah,
Oh man, those are amazing.
I like that.
Yeah,
Nice.
Batman Dark Age number 2 came out, which I read. continuing the story, Bruce goes to Vietnam, gets trained by Ra's al Ghul, and then returns to Gotham.
In
But
guerrilla
Mark
warfare.
Russell, guerrilla warfare.
If you
Um,
watch the Sympathizer, you can see Batman in the background.
Ultimate Spider-Man number 4. This was an interesting issue because
What a
it's like,
ballsy issue, right?
yeah,
I
all
just to do
conversation
that.
issue.
Yeah, just to do that. You don't
Yeah.
even see Spider-Man in his costume. Like on the
Yeah,
4th
not
issue of this series, it's
That's
wild.
Hickman, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's totally
Hickman gonna Hickman.
He
Did
can
he
do
put
whatever
it
he
in
wants.
code so you have to decipher it too?
The panels
And
are
you
numbered.
can
And you got to follow them like through different pages. So
Oh,
It
they're
takes
not
30
can't
numbered,
read it
they're
digitally.
symbolized. They're
It
just
takes 30
symbols
minutes
that
to
you have
read.
to figure out where they go. Do you remember? Did you guys read the first the X-Force where it first appeared? The little green blob, kind of like Slimer, that looks like in the X-Men comics.
Duke?
Dupe.
Oh, yeah, dude from
Dupe.
yeah.
Dupe. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever I've spent a good 2 months trying to figure out his, because you could decipher his language. Like there's
Yes.
Yeah.
you could go back in and decipher it. So that's what reminds me of Hickman. On this Ultimate Spider-Man number 4, you do get the "with great power comes great responsibility" line from
Oh,
a
my.
surprising source. So,
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of love that Uncle Ben is alive.
yeah, and again, we get a really great relationship moment between Uncle Ben and like Peter's kids.
Yeah, like Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson just buddying around, disrupting the newspaper industry.
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't know I wanted to read that, but it's fucking cool.
I'm gonna have to check this out.
It's yeah, I'm telling you, it's the best Marvel comic out there right now for me.
Really? Wow. That's a
Yeah.
bold statement. I like it. I'm here for it.
I've always seen this comic compared to a certain former president's book. I finally tracked this down and
Oh my
read it.
So it's like a copy of the fart of the deal.
Yeah, 100%.
Do people compare that to Jimmy Carter's How to Grow Peanuts?
Yeah, nailed it.
I really, you said peanuts, right? I just want to double check. So I'm pretty sure there's an triple X parody out there.
His follow-up is How to Stand Up a House. They're all very tantalizing titles. How to
Nice.
erect a column. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Go on, Jimmy.
It's a good story. It's about a guy who's writing a book on Lex Luthor, who digs up all of Lex Luthor's dirt. This is early post-crisis Lex Luthor. So it's like
That makes
he's
sense.
kind of businessman.
Does it make sense? Did that sentence make sense to you, Josh?
Well, no, it does, because after Crisis, it was all about reconstituting like the Superman world primarily, right?
Yeah, that was
He was
all
an
a
over
John Byrne
evil
thing.
scientist.
Yeah, right.
No longer evil scientist like
He's
He's
just a
evil businessman.
Businessman, yeah.
I was just like early post-crisis. What the fuck does that mean?
It was, we're gonna reboot with these ideas, and then they throw them away like a year later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like when people talk about art and they go like, "Yeah, this is a postmodern contemporary piece." I'm like, "So when is it from then? Like when?"
That all made sense to me. What are you talking about?
So this is from between 1986 and 1989. Lex Luthor. But yeah, it's about Lex Luthor from the corners of the business world intimidating this one guy, writing a book on him. And so the one guy goes to Clark Kent to get in touch with Superman because Clark Kent knows who Superman or knows how to get in touch with Superman. But Lex Luthor ends up killing the writer of the book first. So Clark Kent gets blamed for the murder. And then Lex Luthor gets Clark Kent out of jail because he wants Clark Kent's help to get to Superman. And it's very kind of like usual suspects, who's like pulling the string behind what kind of thing.
So Lex Luthor was Wilson Fisk for 4 years.
Yes.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, got it. You should have started there.
It's too
But
complicated.
Wilson Fisk from the 1990s Trial of the Incredible Hulk movie.
Oh God! Yeah. Oh Jesus!
Wilson
That's a
Fisk from
callback.
the post Secret Wars post Secret Wars Secret Wars era.
Again, that also makes sense to me. I don't understand what the joke is.
Not everyone has an art history degree, Josh. I hope your next course is about like this, like just that, just the comic publishing like timeline. Let's unwrap this. Come on, kids. Let's untangle this web.
Get through it. That's everything well, that's not everything I read this week, but that's what I've come to present for my presentation for the week.
Oh, very good job. We're gonna send you a report card. You can put it on the fridge. All right.
Yes.
Let me talk about a few things that I got. I won't go into all the details, but I picked up the latest issue of Avengers. This is the last one before the Blood Hunt begins, so I'm very excited to get into it.
That's the other. So when Josh was talking about the Fantastic Four, I thought of the Avengers because these last two issues have been Fall of X tie-ins. I think the next two issues are Blood Hunt tie-ins.
Man,
I'm like, poor Jed McKay can't tell his own story.
Yeah, right.
In the post Fall of X, pre Blood Hunt timeline.
I'm writing all this down. I'm just like so many periods.
I also picked up this the latest issue of Wolverine 48, with an homage to the Dracula cover.
Ah, yeah.
That is now officially the third Dracula homage that they are able to use, because did you notice they used one of them like 3 times?
Yeah.
I'm like, how many iconic Tomb of Dracula covers are there? There's maybe these 3, right?
Yeah.
So
I am still reading all the Fall of X stuff. It is very convoluted. Don't worry about
I
it.
have no idea what's going on.
yeah, I could care less.
But look at this cover, though.
That is a nice cover.
Like one of them, I understand because it's just a bunch of mutants fighting and bashing each other's, like bashing a bunch of Sentinels' brains in and stuff.
Classic.
The other one is like time travel and real Hickman-y, like white box hand sand 29 whatever, and I'm just like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know what the white box is, and I've been reading this from the beginning. So, and then I also picked up TMNT 150. This is the last issue of TMNT before the reboot.
That foil wrap
I only
around.
picked it up. Say what?
Does the foil wrap around?
It's just the same image.
Mm.
I don't know why they did it like that. It starts off with this guy. So like I kind of want to read it because I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
There's also multiple versions of Donatello, like one from the present, one from the future, which is my favorite turtle. So like I'm in. There's this other turtle named, what's her name? I don't know, but like she's wearing white. I don't know her. I think she's also from the future. Yeah, it's bonkers. I don't know.
What issue is that? You only have 150 issues to catch up.
150. Right? Yeah, I figured I could just jump into this one, right?
Yeah.
Stan Lee said every comic book should read like it's your first.
Oh, that is
yeah, exactly.
That ended in like 2000. That does not matter anymore.
And by the way, does that foil wrap around? Sounds like the ultimate cat call. Is that foil wrap around? Hey girl, is that foil wrap around?
Hey there, that foil wrap around. The last thing I picked up was this facsimile of Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah, first Dazzler.
Just waiting for Taylor Swift to be Dazzler in Deadpool, so this will blow up. So I picked up 10. Just 10 copies just to celebrate it. And then Detective Comics, the latest issue, which I'm so behind on, but I'll never not pick up Detective Comics. I think like you'll have to
That'll
kill me
always
first.
be your staple.
I think that one and Batman are like the last 2 things I'll ever drop. So that's it. That's all. Yeah, I don't have anything more. We already talked. Oh, I did read Dick Tracy.
Yeah,
I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty gruesome, which I don't think the original strips were like as violent.
No,
No,
they
they
were
were-
more
They were pretty violent, though.
really okay. I just
Yeah,
remember the
I feel like it.
faces being distorted and almost like a body horror type thing. I mean, at least that's the way it looked in the live action movie.
Yeah, it's pretty clear, at least from two of the covers, that this seems to be playing off of the Warren Beatty. At least like look, because I mean Dick Tracy looks like Warren Beatty, at least on the cover.
Yeah.
So I can actually show you guys a little bit because I'm working on I'll be doing a review, so I have
okay.
visuals ready. Hold on one
Nice.
second.
I'm really curious about this one because again, I did not have Dick Tracy Revival on my bingo card.
Oh, that is violent.
I mean, it's his dick right on the front. So I mean, come on, that's not for kids. And then this is by Alex Segura and Michael Moresi with art by Geraldo Borges, maybe. But yeah, it starts off in like this diner where nobody's supposed to be able to find you. Of course, that's a myth.
That's Flat Top.
And then boom.
That's the great thing about Dick. Oh my God!
That
Wow.
is a lot of blood.
I love the visuals in this. I love that the narration ends here in the blood on the floor. Like
Yeah.
the narration that we've been listening to through the first 5 pages after the
Oh.
gunshot here.
Oh, interesting.
And it's just too late. It's still the narration that's just on the ceiling splattered with blood.
Oh wow.
Fantastic. So yes, I'll do a full review for it, but since I had it ready,
I am weirdly hyped for this book.
Yeah, it looks cool.
agreed.
And especially because just like a year or two ago, I say that it may have been during COVID, but I rewatched the Warren Beatty Dick Tracy movie, and it's not terrible. Is the thing? I mean, and it's visually stunning. Like it is really beautifully filmed. So
Yeah, and Warren Beatty's been making like these little mini sequels to hold on to the rights to it.
right, yeah.
Dumping them on YouTube, and like it's really weird, but like he really wants to, I guess, make something, but he just has been sitting on the property for a long time.
So does this comic mean that's finally lapsed, or did they have to go to him?
It maybe print is different than
That makes sense.
film.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, because I wouldn't think they'd sell print rights to a feature film guy.
I mean, we can talk about rights when we do our actual review. But that's all I read. So I'm gonna let you close out on comics, Clay, so we can do our actual review.
Okay. One other thing real quick I forgot was Crisis on Infinite Earth Part 1 dropped on dropped on Max.
Oh, interesting.
And if I'll wait till you guys see it because it's an interesting retelling and how they do it. I dug it, and some of the voice actors that show up in it, Jensen Ackles, Matt Bomer. Yeah.
I don't want to be a bummer, but I watched part 2 this week, and I'm
yeah.
also waiting on the review because
Oh, interesting.
Part 2 sucks.
it doesn't suck. It's just
Part 1?
boring. So part 1 dropped on HBO Max, part 2 dropped on VOD.
Right. But did you, when you watched part 1, Danny, did you like it? Like, did you like it as much?
It wasn't bad. No, yeah, I thought it was. It's not my favorite animated thing, but it was very, very serviceable.
The story's great. The art is fucking basic. Like, I don't have any other way to describe it. It's not stylized. It's not cool looking. They aren't doing anything innovative with any of the animation. It's just like
it feels stiff, and it feels even stiffer on the second one. And
fuck.
Yeah, the second one's kind of like the story's kind of. It feels like the middle part of a comic. Like
when you're trying to show things like the destruction of multiverses or Flashes running through time periods, you would think, oh, you could do something new and different. Now, it's pretty much the same basic shit we've seen done over and over and over again.
The cool part of the live action Crisis that when they did it on the CW was that each place they visited felt like we were back on, if it was something that they were calling back, like the Batman film or the Smallville or whatever they were bringing in, it felt like that place. you would think that in an animated medium you could even go harder on that because you could draw things in different styles, but they don't take advantage. I think we talked about it when we saw the trailer that they didn't take
Yeah,
advantage.
that's what
of it.
it would be cool if they had brought in like
Yeah.
the Super Friends animation style or that old.
Yeah, or I mean, or even just like I think back to when they did New Frontier animated, and they went to great lengths to mimic the style of the comic. Can you imagine if we had gotten a George Perez looking?
Oh,
I know, right? Like that would have been fucking incredible. But no, they like I feel like all their animated stuff, and this even goes. I mean, I really enjoyed the Doom that came to Gotham, but it kind of implies that they have this like just very like mundane style now.
yeah, like Mignola already showed you how to make it look cool. Like, why are
Yeah,
you
exactly, right? And
why are you,
to their credit, they did in the Doom that came to Gotham try and grab a little bit of that Mignola
Yeah.
style, but that's where I feel like these things really kind of take off, right? I mean, New Frontier looks amazing. I mean, go read the book; it's still better, but as an animated film, it mimics the look of that book.
the other problem is that I watch a lot of anime that looks sick. So like going back to this, I'm like, what the fuck, guy? Like,
Yeah.
Might as well
do you
draw
not know
stick
what-
figures.
Yeah, like, and I don't want to shit on the animators because I'm sure it's tough, but like, man,
I don't think that they were challenged. I think
Somebody-
they were
yeah,
given
yeah.
like here's this. Just make this character walk.
they
fly,
probably did what they're
don't-
told. They're what they're
Yeah.
told, and like,
Don't expand on it. And if you
I'll
were
be
to ever
shit on
like
them.
create AI from this type of style, it would be the most basic, boring shit. So,
all right,
but yeah, but comic wise, I finished off Captain Marvel Volume 2 and 3 is what my library has it as, but Marvel has it as Volume 2 and 4. In Volume 2, Carol fights an upcoming hero called Star, who appears to be siphoning off her powers. And she has this badass move that shows how fucking strong she is. And it is so cool. Like, she really tests Carol's limits in this book.
Wow.
you should try to find the Star miniseries that kind of goes hand in hand with that.
Yeah.
So you learn about her because Star
Ah.
is powered by the Reality Stone.
Oh, huh.
She's great.
Wow.
I love her. It was one of my favorite things that Kelly Thompson added to the mythology of Captain Marvel.
Yeah, and it really plays on the idea of just when the people hate you, like when you just draw ire from like the crowds, even though like Captain Marvel's a hero and everything Carol does is for the betterment, they still are like, yeah, but people, I'm hearing she's half Kree, so really, what's her legacy? What should she be doing for us that she isn't doing for those aliens? Like, it's a very kind of a possessive type thing.
Interesting.
In Volume 3, it goes into the Empire crossover. So Carol becomes an accuser, and that's kind of an interesting take on her because she kind of has to bring some people to justice, and Carol's not like that accuser level. She's more of a policeman and not someone who's going to actually discipline someone. So it's interesting to see how she handles it, and I mean, I just dug the art, and I dug Kelly Thompson's take on it. This is probably one of those best runs of Carol since Kelly Sue DeConnick.
Wow, that's awesome.
I just ran out since you were talking about Captain Marvel.
What?
Mark Brooks was here last weekend. So Sean, the owner at the shop, there's like a collection of his covers that they put out in prints.
Yeah.
So he gave me this. It's signed by Mark Brooks.
That's
Dude.
awesome.
This is from the Dark
Last
Avenger
Avenger.
run. Yeah.
That's
We
beautiful.
were just looking through the things that he got signed, and I was like, "Oh, Dark Avenger, I love that cover." And then he's just like, "Okay, here you go." And I was like, "Oh, yeah."
That's awesome.
Sean's a very cool dude. I love Sanctuary. So, all right, well, cool. With that Dark Avenger Interstellar segue, see, we did it again.
I cannot believe you set me up for that and then fucked me over.
If you want to relive that segue, I'll put the time codes in the.
Fantastic.
So, I'm very excited because we are going to do a review and for early review for Space Ghost #1. This is a new book from Dynamite Comics. I've been waiting for this for a little while because David Pepose, like, he's a creator that I've been following on the internet. He's been on the show, or he's been on the channel. We talked to him about The Devil That Wears My Face from Mad Cave. We also talked a little bit about his upcoming Punisher run because right after we had scheduled the interview, the announcements dropped from San Diego Comic-Con, I think, or New York.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, we got to talk about this Punisher. So yeah. Let's talk about the creative team here. Oh, actually, I don't have it here.
Hang on. I can tell you.
It's here. So it's award-winning writer David Pepose, artist Jonathan Lau, and Taylor Esposito doing the letters. Space Ghost. Before we get into the actual review, can one of you guys fill us in on who the hell is Space Ghost?
Josh?
Before
He's
his
a talk show.
late night show.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, so I
really
don't know how deeply they actually go into his background in the original animated show, but he's kind of like a galactic spaceman or galactic space cop. And that certainly applies here. I don't know if they ever, I mean, every show from the 70s had kid/animal sidekicks, which is why I'm still constantly, it was not a fever dream. It actually happened. The Happy Days animated cartoon had Fonz's dog and, for inexplicable reasons, a time machine. I don't know why those things had to come together, but they did. But yeah, no, so we get Jan and Jace showing up in this, and Blip, who are his sidekicks from the cartoon. I don't know if there's any much more to say about it than that. Someone else jump in.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need. Yeah, you got it.
Cool. Let me read the synopsis, then we'll get into our actual thoughts. I love this synopsis. Is very extra. Greed and corruption flourish in the darkness between the stars. With territories of the Galactic Federation spread far and wide across the vastness of space, pirates, hijackers ransack the distant colonies with cruel disregard for the innocent scientists living within them. Poor scientists. Yet there's a cosmic vigilant who metes out justice. I've never read that word before, I don't think. Is that right? Mets, METS, meets out justice? Okay. Throughout the galaxy, bringing vengeance to those who prey upon the defenseless. Some say he's a policeman who has abandoned the structures of law. Others say he's a phantom, the sole survivor of a war-torn planet. And those who have survived his wrath claim he's more of a force of nature, able to bend the very elements of creation to decimate his enemy. They call him the Space Ghost. That's pretty fucking cool. Pretty cool. So I'm gonna throw it over to you, Clay. What did you think of Space Ghost #1?
Oh, I dug it. I mean, it's a great setup because I don't really know the true origins of Space Ghost from the cartoon. So this kind of gives you the basis of a scientist who has these two kids and Blip, who turns out to be the most important scientific discovery ever. That's how you keep a hold of that monkey. And they're raided by pirates, where we get to meet Evil Brack, which is I absolutely was my favorite part of the comic. I love the Brack show so much, and it's like, but he's based on a villain, from the original cartoon back in like 67, 68. And so these two, they're onboarded by these two creatures who are from, I guess, Brack's planet. Do you know what his planet's name is, Josh?
I do not remember now.
Yeah, and so he's battling with the kids after their father's killed, but we don't ever see the body. And so he's just shot, and so they're on the run this whole issue, and it is fun. I definitely on board with the second issue.
Nice. Jeff, what about you? What did you think?
You said Jeff. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I enjoyed it. I like how I'm not totally familiar. I remember watching the old Hanna-Barbera stuff. and then there was a DC did put out like a mini series called Future Quest that he was a part of,
Yes.
which combined all the Hanna-Barbera properties. And so this one is like almost, I don't want to call it the dark reboot of Space Ghost, but it does go a little bit harder than what I'm used to seeing Space Ghost being. So he's kind of like Space Ghost with just a touch of Batman kind of thrown in there, kind of.
Yeah.
Which is super cool because you're basically dealing with a blank slate when it comes to Space Ghost. I mean, nobody really knows, so you get to kind of do whatever you want. So it is very intriguing to see where this goes, as you know, because he could be a very boring kind of like vanilla generic superhero, but they are giving him some kind of you don't know exactly what his history or his origin story is or whatever. So it's very interesting. I like it.
I'm taking like the David Pepos history I know from like Savage Avengers and going, I hope he goes, hard like he did in that book in this book, because really, if you talk about people holding Space Ghost to his origins, you're going to talk about people who are older than me who watched the cartoon because everyone else knows him from the talk show in the 90s. So there is no like hard origin for Space Ghost.
He does have an uncle that sounds like Randy Macho Man Savage, according to the talk show.
Oh yeah,
and that cover did go hard.
Yeah, and and to its credit, it sets up well the tone of the interior book, right? Like you see that cover, and you're not going to think, "Oh, this is going to be lighthearted kid fare," right?
That's right.
And who were the other villains that he should run into? So he's met Brack, and he's got two. Like, is it
Moltar? Met two in this one. You also saw Tanzit early on.
Okay.
And I just want to remind everyone, I have it queued up. I'm not sure it'll come through. Again, I couldn't decouple their voices from coast to coast when reading this. So when Tanzit showed up, he had this very plain Nebushi voice because he did it in that. And then, of course, when Brack shows up, I just keep hearing Brack. I mean, so that was like the only issue I had. Well, that and one other, but apart from that, it was great. Like I really liked it. I did feel some of the writing was a little clunky. So, for instance, what was the purpose of the dad reminding his son how Blip is more important than he knows when later it's very clear he knows when he explains what Blip is? I'm just like, what was the point of that, right?
No, I thought he only said that because his dad had just told him, and then he saw his dad die. So
well, all right, but if his dad had just told him, he wouldn't have known what Blip stood for and what Blip could do, right?
Oh, see, I think they know Blip. They just didn't know all the stuff how important he was. Maybe.
No. All right. I mean,
I see what you're saying. I mean, I guess I didn't run into that same thing, but
I mean, it could be on another level that we haven't gotten to yet,
right? Which is fair.
So.
Yeah. But I do want to give credit. The art in this is amazing. It's really, really nice. I loved it so much. It's great. I mean, I'll keep reading it just because it's Space Ghost is a character, and I didn't ever read the future stuff that you referred to, Jeff, but Space Ghost to me was always a character that the design always kind of it always had more potential than I think what we got in the show, right? Like you see him, you're like, hey, he should be like a badass Batman, Green Lantern hybrid. And we never really get that in the show, and this seems to be it. And I'm super hyped for it. So,
I want to talk a little bit about the art because this Jonathan Lau dropping him in like this,
that's cool.
Yeah,
holy shit! So and then as I'm going back, when he drops in from the ceiling, so does he? I don't really understand or know what the full extent of his actual abilities is, because you can see through him, right? So he's definitely ghosting in as he just bursts through this the wall or the ceiling here to save the kids, but then he solidifies again because you can't see through him anymore on the next panel here where they're fighting. So that's gonna be really interesting. Like his shield, his deflector shield that he has. It's pretty interesting and kind of how
he can fly through space on his own. He can turn invisible in space, and he has these beams that come out of his wrist and I think it's from the suit. Yeah, he does. He does that.
she picks up the gauntlet afterward. Yeah. So, and then one more time, I really like this panel.
Yeah.
That's
But then the very next panel is great because they're like, "What are you?" And he's like, "A ghost." And then it's just a shadow of him just pummeling the shit out of Tanzin. And I was getting very that opening scene of Batman from the Batman vibes, right? It's like, yeah, right.
So I quite enjoyed it. I don't have a lot of history. I didn't even watch the Coast to Coast show much either. I just kind of see the memes and then him.
Dude, all right. Afternoon, go to my Plex. I have the original cartoon on there, and then go to that YouTube. Just put it on in the background. It is amazing.
Yeah,
and it was two of the big writers on it were Evan Dorkin and his wife's name. I'm blanking on her name.
Sarah.
Yeah. Fuck.
Damn it.
I know. But yeah, that was their first like kind of non-comic writing gig, and then from that I
Mad Magazine and
they did, but also like we got that pilot for Evan Dorkin's. I'm blanking on all of it.
Sarah Dyer.
Sarah Dyer, thank you. Yeah, we got that pilot because of their work on Space Ghost. So,
Daniel, I think you need to come up with a supercut of us just trying to remember stuff.
It's gonna be Jeff and Clay for like 30 seconds and me for like 5 hours.
I'm just as bad. But the thing I'm looking forward to is because we have the Space Ghost show, we know the villains and we've seen Brack. So we have Zorak and Moltar who haven't shown up yet in the comics. So I'm kind of curious because like we see what he's done with Brack. Are we going to see like the level of villainy from those guys too?
Yeah.
Which one's going to get the Mantis?
Zorak.
Okay.
Zorak. I wonder if they're going to get the rights to any of the other like Hawkman or Birdman.
Man.
What is
Harvey Birdman,
Thundar the Barbarian, or anything else like that.
That's the thing with those Hanna-Barbera that I love is like I don't know why the WB kind of doesn't do anything with them. Every now and again they get rebooted into some other format, like we see the 90s talk show. Then we had the Future Quest, and I mean they've all kind of had their own comedy bits from the 90s. Harvey Birdman is probably my favorite show from the 90s Adult Swim era of Hanna-Barbera's rebooted stuff.
Honestly, about 10 years ago, I was fully expecting like them to be like this movie property has been we're gonna do a universe of this of all the old Hanna-Barbera stuff for the movies, and I'm surprised it never happened.
Oh yeah, I would love to see it. I don't know. They I don't think they even print, or they do print on demand for these cartoons now. They don't even I don't think you can buy them in box sets or anything. There's nothing being printed anymore from them.
I can't go to my local Suncoast and pick up the DVD set.
Yes, for us physical media people.
All right. Well, as always, Dynamite has a lot of really cool covers. So it's going to be tough. This week's going to be rough. So thanks Dynamite for sending it out. Good luck to the team. From what we can tell, it's going to be a banger. So cool. Well, speaking of old TV shows that need to be rebooted, bam, nailed it.
Way to fuck me over so you could have the good segue, Danny. I appreciate it.
The glory.
I didn't want to say this during the review, but that Future Quest series is really good. It's got great Doc Shaner artwork in it.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it is so good.
I can track this down.
It brings up like what is it, Frankenstein Jr. It like has all of the forgotten
Johnny Quest.
Johnny Quest. Yeah, it's awesome. It's definitely
Powerpuff Girls.
And I can't even believe we aren't talking about Alex Toth through all those, who created most of these 60s cartoons and worked on them.
Right.
I mean, we wouldn't have Super Friends. We wouldn't have some of the influential cartoons that I grew up with.
Well, save it for the Alex Toth show. Throw it on the calendar, Jeff.
Yeah.
Whenever we see a gap. All right.
Let's light this candle, huh?
moving on
Weird.
to our main topic. So, Jeff, do you want to talk a little bit about how you came up with this?
I
since
love
it's
his
your
idea.
conversation here.
Yeah, I was just thinking out loud. The Fall Guy, the movie The Fall Guy, is coming out next week, starring Ryan Gosling, which is a reboot of an old television show starring, is it Lee Majors? Is that right?
Yes.
Which was the original Fall Guy TV show. I don't know. I didn't look this up. Ran in the early '80s, maybe late '70s, early '80s.
Late 70s.
About a stunt man that just got himself into mystery, solves crime. So I started thinking, well, what other old television shows have been forgotten about that deserve kind of a movie reboot or a revisit of some sort? And so I asked the fellas, hey, let's do this. Let's come up with some shows, pitch me some ideas. Let's pretend that I'm a high producer, highfalutin producer over at Sony. Pitch me some ideas.
Sony that needs ideas, not
Sony that needs ideas.
Max or Netflix that cancels everything.
Listen, guys, I'm from Paramount Plus, and we need some new shows.
Yeah.
I forgot to talk about Knuckles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They need some new people to populate Paramount Mountain because apparently they're all dying of like exposure up there. So
It's because Xavier keeps throwing them off. All right, so I think we'll just go around and we'll talk about. So for those that have longer lists, maybe start with the main ones that you really want to talk about, and then we'll just kind of go until we run out of time.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Let me kick it over. You know what, Josh? Since you had the excellent segue earlier, let's start over with one of your shows.
Well, thank you. So I would say my
let me go first. No,
and then he takes one of your shows.
Yeah, exactly. I love this show. Danny's talking to. I love this show when I was a kid from the 70s called Soap. Oh no, that is one of mine. I'll come back to it. But no, the first thing that came to mind when I was thinking of like specifically obscure shows few people remember. That I think the thing about Fall Guy and what was kind of stuck in my head was what is the conceit of a show that would translate well to either a new series or a movie. And the one that came to mind, I love this show. I don't know. I'd be intrigued to see if anyone else here remembered it. It was a D.B. Sweeney show that started in 1995 called Strange Luck. Wow. Okay. Now, the sad thing is I would love to revisit this show, but it is impossible to find. The basic conceit of the show is D.B. Sweeney was the sole survivor of a plane crash when he was a baby that his parents died in. So he grows up in this, kind of like in an orphanage. But as he gets older, it becomes pretty clear to him that he has some kind of weird, inexplicable. No, he has some weird, inexplicable luck that he can't control, right? All he knows. And so the thing I kind of love about the show is it's not driven off. It's not driven by his ability to control luck or know what's happening. It's all very random. And you just kind of wait for the end of the episode to see how it all comes together. My favorite example of this was there's one early on where it's like the second or third one. It really hooked me. The opening is he's always at this diner that he hangs out at, and he's leaving the diner, and it was either it's been ages, but like I think a motorcycle drives by him, and something falls off it. And he's trying to yell. He's like, wait, hang on, you forgot, and it just keeps driving on, and you don't see what it was, and he looks down. And the camera just holds on him. So you just see him bend down. And he bends back up and he's holding a fake leg, a prosthetic leg. And he's like, you lost your leg. And then he's just like, man. And he throws it over his shoulder and just walks away. And so for the first half of the episode, he's just carrying this leg around. And by the end of it, it all ties together. Like the owner of the leg is like the person he's investigating. He's also like a newspaper reporter. And it's that kind of conceit that I think worked so well at the show. And that would translate beautifully to a film, right? Like just, weird shit's happening to this person. He's like, well, it's gonna come together in the end, just like it goes along with it. So it was great. I love Strange Luck. It was only around for like a season and a half. It was very clearly playing off of, it's that period where the X-Files was such a massive hit that they were looking for any kind of show with a weird bent in it, So yeah, that'd be my pick.
They picked Chris Carter picked up a show called Harsh Realms at the time, which was based on a comic book, which was a great premise, and I wish it had continued, but it was about a guy who goes into like a VR and is trapped. And so half the story takes place in the VR world that he's trying to get out of, and the other half is his wife trying to track him down in real life because she doesn't know where he is.
I'm guessing the VR segments were terrible for the time.
I mean, it was just basically he wakes up and everything looks real, and then at the end of the episode, you realize, his physical body's like on a cart in a room full of other people that are in this VR.
Huh? Interesting.
We already have that. It's called Sword Art Online, and it's an anime, and it's great. Until it gets really weird at the end.
It's also called Assassin's Creed.
With Michael Fassbender.
No, the game.
Jeff, throw us one of yours.
So I have a couple of ideas. Some is just casting, where I just want to see, but I'll give you my big pitch here in a second. But first, I just want to see a Xena Warrior Princess reboot with Rhea Ripley from the WWE. It would be her first acting role. Will she be good in it? I don't know, but I think she'd be perfect for the role.
What if we do like a queen Xena, like the same King Conan concept where she's just older, and we just get Lucy Liu to come back?
I mean,
and then part of it can be like her telling stories of when she was younger, and then it's Rhea Ripley.
There, now I'm sold. All I wanted to see was see Rhea Ripley.
WWE Studios, call us.
Yeah, exactly. But my big one is I want to do a dark reboot of the Andy Griffith Show.
I love this.
So I have got it'll be called Mayberry. It takes place 20 years after the Mayberry Strangler has killed Andy Taylor's wife. Andy Taylor is, of course, the sheriff of Mayberry. In my dark reboot, he will be played by Kevin Costner.
Good choice.
Opie will be played by Stranger Things Joe Keery. They have a rough relationship since the mom was killed and Andy didn't solve the murder. And it could be anybody in the small town of Mayberry, Like we could do stunt casting for Floyd the Barber or whatever. For Barney Fife, I have Tim Robinson because he's kind of a goofy person, but he could be serious. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's the killer. We don't know.
I like Steve Buscemi for that role. I liked all your casting, but I like Steve Buscemi there.
I was also thinking of Tim. He plays the leader. What's his name? Tim Hunt.
Oh, yeah.
Tim Allen.
No, I can see him from the Green Lantern movie.
Tim Nelson
Blake. Yeah.
Tim Nelson Blake.
Oh, from Watchmen. Yeah.
From the Hulk.
And then Sally Field would be Aunt B. But it would just be like a David Fincher version of the Andy Griffith Show. Would be my pitch.
Would there be like Twin Peaks vibes in this as well? Like
totally.
Down, kind of
weird, like Gomer and Goober Pile could be weird. Like
I'm sold. This sounds great. I love it.
Yeah,
and then the
killer could whistle the original theme song.
That's what I was thinking. The teaser.
That's
killer, but it's a slow, creepy whistle kind of.
Get the guy that slows down Jordan Peele songs and just get him to do it.
Would it benefit or harm the tone of this if we have the original Opie actor do the narration, a la Arrested Development?
Ron Howard.
Can we get Mr. Ed to do a cameo?
Yeah.
I think that this has been done on either SNL or SCTV. They did a dark Mayberry.
Really?
Yes, because I'm trying to look for it. SCTV did some, but it's not the one I'm looking for. But there is a dark Mayberry reboot.
This whole episode came because Jeff fell asleep watching YouTube, and then it just started playing in the background.
Just
It's like,
subconsciously.
I have a
hit my
great
brain.
idea. Like Jerry Seinfeld just got up and wrote it down with his astronaut pen. Cool. I like that, Jeff. That's cool. I didn't go too far into like casting or anything because I'm really bad at that. But let me throw one of mine out there. We're just going clockwise. So I was thinking, what do people like? Comics. What do people also hate? Comic reboots. Well, too tough shit. I'm gonna give you the closest thing to a comic. I don't think this was ever a comic, but my pitch is Manimal from 1983.
Yes.
Now, for those that don't know, Manimal, aka Jonathan Chase, is a crime fighter who has the ability to transform into any animal he chooses to be. He's turned into things like a panther, an eagle, and just about every episode, he's turned into a snake, a horse, a dolphin, a bull, a bear, and once he turned into a bird off screen, which I don't know why that matters that it was off screen. So I think,
Yeah, right.
you know,
I
a
want to
lot
see
of
this with Danny McBride. Like,
yeah, a
is
lot
he just-
of, well, I was
That'd
thinking,
be good. That'd be really good.
That's perfect.
That is perfect.
I was thinking if the whole Craven the Hunter thing doesn't work out for Aaron Taylor Johnson, he'd be a perfect Manimal.
Just get a manimal.
he would be a good manimal.
Ironically, being a perfect manimal is also on his Tinder profile. So it just
He's on that app, but the only celebrities can get into. That's like Tinder, but for celebrities. But I think,
Tinder?
yeah, no, like I don't pay for all the tiers, so I don't know. I only use the free version. Oh, Clay, did you have to step away in a second? Is that what
That
your
was
message
time.
was about? Oh, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
Josh.
Oh yeah, I gotta jump out.
You can step away, and I'll finish up mine. Maybe I'll skip you, and then we'll just give you two when you come back, or not. Yeah. So I was thinking, like, my generation loves those Animorphs books with the weird covers of people transforming into animals. So, like, Manimal would be a hit with the millennial crowd.
that's so weird.
I will say this: I've never seen Manimal. My list is mainly comprised of things I haven't seen. But I
Nice.
looked online and I was like, okay, let me look at some cool premises. Let me think, like, you know, that's kind of how the studios are doing it. They've never seen Fall Guy.
Yeah, they know.
Right, exactly.
He's like, what can I put Ryan Reynolds in? I mean, Ryan Gosling in.
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Reynolds could have also been the Fall Guy. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not interchangeable, but they can probably both. Oh, actually, Ryan Reynolds would have been really cool in the Aaron Taylor Johnson role of like him being the movie star. So
I see.
anyways, well, hopefully we can talk about Fall Guy when the movie comes out. But yeah, that was my thinking. I saw a few visuals of Manimal and I was like, oh, this is crazy. This is why, like, this only could have happened in the 80s
Yeah.
with all the snorts going around. So
It's so much snorking going on.
I can just
But,
hear Danny
okay.
McBride saying, "I was just a horse" or something, like that.
the thing I would love is that they could bring in like people reacting to the news. You know how they do the scene in movies where they like take reactions from the news or social media. It's like, and then somebody's like, he turned into a horse. He turned into a horse. And then someone's like, he can't turn into animals. Like nobody believes in, like, just all that little fun stuff. But
he gets his name in that person. Like, he can't turn into animals. He'd be some kind of, I don't know, manimal.
it's like he's some sort of manimal. Look straight at the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
When
The title comes up. Well-
the title would be like the normal font, but it's scratched out. Like
Oh, yeah. So like they did in the opening of Werewolf by Night.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, if I'm next,
Go ahead.
then this is a good segue because I also have a terrible 80s show that I feel like should be rebooted. And that is, now, before I say this, I just want to say, kids, I don't know if you lived in the 80s when it was kind of a thing where popular culture was obsessed with moving vehicles of some type being smart. And why every government agency had a secret agency working on such smart moving vehicles, I don't know. but that leads to Street Hawk. And if there's one show that I think should be rebooted in a very tongue-in-cheek way, it would be Street Hawk. Which, as I'm saying this, I'm realizing, fuck, this already happened. It just didn't get picked up, which was that Owen Wilson, Jack Black, smart motorcycle pilot they did that never aired.
Well, let me ask you, what's the difference between Street Hawk and Knight Rider?
Okay, the difference is one is a motorcycle and the other is a car. But also the motorcycle doesn't talk. It's smart in the same way that Airwolf is smart, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So it has all this like technology and guns and rockets and shit, but it doesn't talk to you. I think the key thing, I would argue what made Knight Rider better than Street Hawk is the fact that Kit has a personality.
Mr. Feeney, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I think Airwolf's a bit of an airhead.
But yeah, I mean, Street Hawk, and again, for those in the know, the canonical Street Hawk is also Daredevil. The earliest Daredevil. It is. Rex Smith.
Rex Smith.
Yeah.
Broadway superstar.
Yeah. So it could be a musical, you know?
From the Trial of the Hulk.
Yeah, exactly.
The black suit with the face covering.
Which basically, if you just replace the face cover with a motorcycle helmet, is his Street Hawk outfit. So I don't know. I have a weird fondness for Street Hawk. It is painfully stupid, and I feel like you just really need to double down on it, right?
You've seen the Dan Harmon parody one, right?
Is that the one with Jack Black and Owen Wilson?
Yes,
okay, that's what
Wilson is the talking motorcycle.
Yeah. All right.
That's great. I wish that had become a series.
Right.
That's
yeah.
crazy because Jack Black would also work really well as the voice of the motorcycle.
I know. That's why it's weird to have those roles.
It should actually be just two motorcycles voiced by Owen Wilson and
Isn't that cars? Yeah, right, exactly.
I just wish it would honk and you'd go, wow.
Hey,
wow.
Hey, Larry the Cable Guy needs work, all right?
No, he doesn't.
All right. We'll let's go to Clay, and then we'll just skip Josh this round.
I loved this show as a kid. In 1979, there was another Andy Griffith show, but it was called Salvage One, and it was about a guy who ran a junkyard, and he actually had and these exist. There are these junkyards for old space equipment where you can go and have parts of all these different things that have been into space. He decides he's going to build his own ship and go to space on his own. So it's kind of this inspired story of a blue collar guy who doesn't have much, but he has the knowledge to build a rocket and go to space. And so it's this real inspiring story. And I dug it. I mean, I don't know who I'd reboot it with, but it would be neat to just see some guys who aren't billionaires, who just have the knowledge and who just pull the trigger on it and are able to go to space. Because that would be amazing. I mean, on anything, imagine you're just like out in your backyard and you see this like spaceship take off out of a junkyard. But Salvage One, came out in 1979. I think they did a TV movie and then did a few episodes, but it didn't go very far. But it was a pretty cool show back in the day.
It couldn't compete with Sanford and Son.
No, not with Red Fox.
The other show about a junkyard with that was their business, right? They own the junkyard.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Although
I'm on fire today, guys.
Well, Sanford and Son is actually an American remake of a British show called Steptoe and Son.
Here we go. And then Josh wonders why I take his segues away.
Actually, no.
Which in fact was a derivative of an old Shakespeare work.
You know what, you may be correct. It is a British show. Who knows? So.
In ancient Greece at the Colosseum, they would do a play. The Colosseum is not in ancient Greece, you dummy. I was talking to myself.
It's fine. I heard nothing.
Joke landed. Got it. Okay. Let's move on to Jeff before people realize that I don't know anything before 1990.
Then all my picks are going to be before that.
There was a show that came out in the it may have been the early 90s called The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr.
Yes.
I had that on my list.
Oh man.
Very funny show, starring. I'm gonna like be like Josh. My mind just blanked, but you guys know
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell. Thank you. It was a western. It was a very tongue-in-cheek, slapsticky western that had elements of like sci-fi steampunk to it. The premise was Briscoe County Senior was a lawman in this kind of in the West who got killed by a bunch of evildoers. So his son Briscoe County Jr. comes to bring those evil villains to justice. But they're looking for some kind of weird alien technology that's out in the desert. Anyway, but it's Bruce Campbell being he's super young Bruce Campbell being very Bruce Campbell-y. So he's like handsome and rugged and charming and just completely stupid, silly, whatever. So I wanted to cast Glenn Powell as the new kind of rugged but goofy kind of like Briscoe County Jr. who tries to bring in these guys to justice, because I think he would look good in a Western movie. He kind of has that kind of cut to him, and I think he's got comedy chops.
Yeah, I was going to say he's got a comedy movie coming up.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my pitch.
Comedy movie.
I don't know. I saw him in one where he's like in different disguises as he's.
Oh yeah, what is that movie?
Is he rebooting The Master of Disguise?
Oh my god!
Nobody references that movie. Holy shit! I didn't realize he was in Twisters.
Yeah,
he's like the main guy in Twisters.
He's the main twister.
He's the
main twister.
Wait, so it's
all the Twisters have voices.
Is it the? It's not the Running Man, is it? I didn't know. Oh, he's in that revival of the Running Man.
Oh, that's great because that's Edgar Wright directing.
Is it Hitman?
Hitman.
It's Hitman.
Yeah.
It's Hitman.
Oh, it's
Hitman.
Hitman. Okay, yeah, the poster's pretty boring.
Yeah, it's a Netflix jam. That's why.
I mean, he's not wearing a turtle suit, so.
God, the Master of Disguise, Jesus!
I just fucking can't believe anyone has seen that movie.
I haven't seen it. I just know the trailer
that it exists.
Yeah.
Like there was another movie that I saw made so much money, and I don't know anyone who's ever seen Norbit.
Oh,
anyone?
No.
Okay.
I don't think you have enough black friends, Clay.
I don't think that's a specifically black film, dude. I don't think the same people that are seeing Soul Food are going, Norbit looks good.
All right. Jeff, was that your pitch?
That was my pitch.
All right. So I had another thing on the list, but I just realized that I was going to suggest Erie, Indiana, but I just realized that there's Stranger Things.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
As we were working on it, so I'm gonna skip to the other one since we don't have enough time, anyways. But Erie, Indiana would be cool if they got away from the Stranger Things of it all, because even Stranger Things it happens in Indiana, right?
It does, but here's the funny thing is I feel like Stranger Things brought it full circle because Erie, Indiana was like a lighthearted version of Twin Peaks. Right, and then it kind of comes all the way around. The Stranger Things, like we're gonna make it grim and creepy again. So,
but it'd be fun if they all had to move to Erie, Indiana, at the end of the last season of Stranger Things.
Oh, like it's a prequel to it. It's a prequel to the show. Or like maybe 11 has a kid at some point, and then they move back to Erie, Indiana, and it's that kid from the show. Boom. We discovered it. Sorry, Duffer Brothers, we spoiled your show.
Stranger Things has always been a prequel to Erie, Indiana the whole time.
But instead, the one I'm going to talk about is Max Headroom.
Yes, I love Max Headroom.
So here's the thing. Like I mentioned, I've never seen most of these things, but I was looking online and I saw the visual of Max Headroom. and I was like, "Oh fuck, we got some. We're cooking now. We got something here." So, let me give you a quick synopsis.
It is worth watching the original made-for-TV movie. It's good. It's way darker than you would think.
Yeah,
So,
the BBC one is the darkest version, and then there's the American version, which ran on ABC, which is a little lighter.
Okay. So, in the near future, an intrepid investigative TV reporter does his job with the help of his colleagues and a computerized version of himself. Which I was like, I mean, how can that fail at all ever, right? So, yeah.
Honestly,
I like
this is like AI basically. This is
and
totally
then-
like
so that's how you reboot it. It goes from being a 3D generated to like an AI learning model. You know?
yeah, like the guy has 6 fingers.
Yeah. Oh, wait, hang on. Fuck. They did that already. It's called Mrs. Davis. God damn it.
Yes, that's what it is.
It is.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't seen that either. So,
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah,
Six
it is
fingers?
good.
It's what?
she's got 6 fingers.
No, but there's a rogue AI. So.
Okay, I'm glad I didn't say instead uneven nipples. Then, if you were gonna reference Mrs. Davis, but I think that
No, that's
sounds
Kenny
cool.
Sanchez.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. The last time you'll ever get a look at these, and then Clay, save that for the Patreon, please.
Oh
For
man.
the next issue OnlyFans.
That's right. People are gonna pay us to take it off.
Well, I'm just saying that they will get some uneven nipples.
That's right. It'd be really funny because Josh has the cutoffs. So like, wait a minute, I'm paying for this.
This is such nightmare fuel. I'm sorry, everyone.
This is. Can you guys believe this will be in the internet forever?
Well, there go all my future job interviews. Fuck.
Just whenever you interview, we can set things to private.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that was it. That was Max Headroom. Like, if you haven't seen it, go check out some visuals. Like, it's just some of the weirdest looking kind of CGI.
who would make a good Max Headroom
so
today?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Shit.
I don't even. What's the character like? A little bit. I don't. Like I said, I've never seen the show, so
He's
I
like
don't
a
know.
sarcastic.
Yeah.
The sarcasm.
He's kind of like Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Like,
It can't be Jim Carrey though.
no.
I wouldn't be Jim Carrey.
But can you imagine if they brought back Max Headroom and just basically put Matt Frewer in the makeup again? I mean, that'd be awesome. It's just makeup, right? So,
Yeah, I don't have a good casting. Like I said, I'm not very good at casting, so I don't. I know like 3 actors, and you guys already talked about Glenn Powell, and we're not casting Timothy Chalamet. Another thing.
Yeah, fuck that dude.
So somebody on TikTok, they thought like that you said fuck him. They was like, that guy needs to grow up.
that guy needs to grow up.
Okay, let's move along to Clay. Clay, what's your other one? We probably got one more, so we'll probably got this round and then one more.
Oh, okay.
Pick wisely.
I would like a live action version of the Herculoids and Thundar the Barbarian and that whole Hanna-Barbera series of cartoons, because Thundar the Barbarian's already dark. It is a post-apocalyptic cartoon with Conan, Chewbacca, and Red Sonja. That's basically Thundar, and he just runs around kind of discovering old relics of America and stuff. Herculoids is just a weird kind of prehistoric type adventure with crazy creatures. I think it's really ripe for a great live action version of it. And since everyone kind of wants a universe, this is in that universe of Hanna-Barbera cartoons that could overlap.
But should they be a shared universe?
Not unless the films are good.
Okay.
Learn from that. What was it? The Dark
Dark
Universe.
Yeah.
The Dark Universe that never got off the ground because all the movies were pure shit.
I mean, I think the key thing there is if they announce the first one and then they, with special guest Russell Crowe, we know they fucked it up, right? Like you can't have him introduce any shared universe at this point. So
I don't know. I think Russell Crowe's having like an exorcism renaissance. He's doing another
Yeah.
exorcist type of movie.
oh, really? Oh, interesting.
Okay, good for you, Pope's exorcist. So,
But yeah, as Thundar, I'd probably have like Jason Momoa.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
As I'm trying to think of the Red Sonja. Like, I mean, I'd want a Gail Gadot to be kind of the Red Sonja type character that's in
Mhm.
there.
that. Ooh, what about Katie O'Brien instead? Since she's jacked as shit from Love
Okay.
Lies Bleeding.
Yeah.
That's on VOD now. I'm gonna check it out this week. Hopefully, I can check it out this weekend.
Okay, so live action Herculoids and Thundar.
I just want to see those big rhino things that shoot the little things out of their horn.
Lava balls.
Yeah.
I like the little blobs that move.
Oh
They-
yeah.
They animated those well.
Yeah, that one I did catch on Boomerang. All right, Josh, what else you got?
So my next one, I did promise this, so I'm circling back around to it. I feel like it is now. This cannot be a movie; it'd have to be a new series. But we are ripe for a soap reboot.
Yeah.
Soap was this amazing show, this amazing comedy in the late 70s that is basically a satire of soap operas. But it was also very socially relevant. So it dealt with racism. It dealt with, I think, like abortion comes up in one and rape. Sorry, trigger warning. It has the first openly gay character on TV played by a not gay person, which is Billy Crystal, but still. And so I feel like they could take those elements and update them to our contemporary day by still making a satire of soap operas, right?
Or even taking a shot at telenovelas.
Ooh, that'd be great. Like kind of tying them together. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Or maybe even more contemporary K dramas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What if? Oh, here's a thought. What if it changed every season? Sort of like anthologies, right? So like one's American, one's Korean, one's telenovela. You know, like just kind of. Oh, that'd be awesome. I'm totally into this now. Nobody steal it.
Well, if they don't steal it, it's not gonna get done, Josh. So maybe they should steal it.
I think I'm going to still pitch you an idea of one season will be like Dark Shadows.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, which itself was a horror-themed parody of soap operas, right? Yeah. So, God, that'd be amazing.
Not the Johnny Depp movie for
Not the Johnny Depp new movie now.
I paid for that piece of shit. I paid to see that.
You're the reason the studio keeps making shit movies, Clay.
I am. I didn't see all those fucking Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know who the fuck sees those.
I saw the first one. It was great.
I just watched the first three. I was on board.
1, 2, the rest.
The rest.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's my pitch. Reboot soap, you cowards.
All right, Jeff, what do you got?
I want to see a reboot of Booze and Buddies.
I like this.
Peter Storey sitcom where I don't know exactly how you would do it today because
it gets very
of the show. The premise of the show is that these two buddies live in, I think it's Chicago, and they get kicked out of their old apartment because it's demolished. And they're scrambling to find a new apartment. The only apartment they can find is a women's only apartment, which I don't know if these things still exist anymore.
Or even, I feel like that's a concept from the 40s. Like,
yeah, or even then, yeah, exactly.
It's in New
So
York.
they have to. Is it in New York? So they have to dress in drag in order to live in these apartments, and so they take on these female personas to live in the apartments, and they're also when they're in their normal everyday male presenting selves, they pretend to be their own siblings. So Tom Hanks is both the girl version and her brother, I guess.
There was
but
an
I just want
attempted reboot, but it wasn't called
really?
Bosom Buddies. It lasted like one episode because everyone was like, "This is done very poorly." It was a men in drag. It was right when people were like going, that isn't appropriate anymore.
Yeah,
I gotta find that show what it was called,
So,
but it wasn't Bosom Buddies.
When you started saying that, I'm thinking that whoever came up with sorority boys or white chicks was probably fan of.
Yeah.
But I think you should cast actual buddies, Oscar Isaac and Pedro Pascal.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That's
I think
amazing.
that's just
I
money.
do love seeing Pedro Pascal when he shows up on SNL as like the mom of that
Yes.
dude.
I do have a counter proposal though, but sticking with the real life friends, the two guys from Supernatural,
Oh, that'd be
Oh.
funny.
Jensen
Yeah,
Ackles.
I would
Jensen
actually like to
Ackles
see
and-
them do a reboot. Oscar Isaac and Pedro Pascal,
Jared
like Some Like It
Padalecki.
Hot.
Oh,
they
God,
would
that
do like a good
They
Some
would
Like It
be
Hot.
way better in that. I'm just going to go on a limb. They would be way better in Some Like It Hot than a Bosom Buddies revival.
Yeah, but before the pitch of the show.
Yeah.
Would be.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's what I would like to see.
All right. All right. Let me throw out my last one here. This one is from a cartoon. It's called Silverhawks. It's about a team of cyborgs that protects Limbo from Monstar and his gang. I mean, there's not a lot there, and yet there's so much that you can just do. It's like a blank canvas of like, oh, you got these really cool character designs. They travel in a ship. It's like, 80s nostalgia cartoons. Like, I think
One of them has a hat, like a cowboy hat, and a guitar.
Yeah. Like you have each of the characters is just like, oh my goodness.
Now that's not from Silverhawks, but it's from Brave Star.
Oh, okay. I was
Awesome.
like,
Which I always think of when I think of Silverhawks, because again, it's like cowboys in space. So
so,
yeah.
I don't know. I like it. I think that would be really fun. But yeah, I don't have any casting.
Was this a live action?
Yeah, a live action for sure. I just want to see somebody in that Silverhawk outfit with all the, with the big headgear and all that.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Cool. All right. Clay,
Glenn
what
Powell
else you
again.
got?
Really, there's a whole time period in the 90s where Fox had great sci-fi shows that lasted one season. You can go through like Dark Angel. I mean, you had Jessica Alba on a TV series.
Yeah.
How great was that? But one I really loved was Mantis. And it was in 1994 with Carl Lumley. He was a guy in a wheelchair who would wear this Mantis suit, and it was like an Iron Man suit, and solve crimes and shit. I felt like it was only given a season, but it could have been so much better. And I really love Carl Lumley, but I would probably maybe put like Lawrence Fishburne in the suit.
That would be good.
I'm not sure, but like I was just kind of like looking at all these shows Fox had. Earth 2 was another one I wanted to reboot that was from that same time period that only lasted a season or two with oh my God, Kurgan, the voice of Lex Luthor. Fuck, I can't.
Michael from Smallville?
No, I hate that I'm looking this
Voice of
up.
Lex Luthor.
Gene Hackman?
Oh, from the cartoons.
Yeah,
Oh fuck yeah!
Clancy Brown.
Clancy Brown. Okay, yeah.
Clancy Brown in Earth 2 is about some people who colonize a planet or land on a planet to colonize it and think that nobody's there. These aliens start to show up in weird ways and communicate with a young boy. I just thought it was a great idea. It lasted a season, but
the thing is, when I think of Mantis, the other thing that comes to mind is this is a slippery slope that may end up in a Nightman revival, and nobody needs that.
I would love a Nightman revival because how would you make that work? It's the dumbest
It is
ever.
so dumb. It is so very dumb.
That's
I-
never stopped Hollywood from
The
doing
story is dumb. The concept is dumb.
Now, I've told you guys, but I don't think I told Jeff. I was at a convention when this premiered, and there was a producer there, and it was in one of the smaller rooms. But he was like, "We had this great new Nightman series. It's based on a comic book," and he showed the commercial for it. And there's a moment where they just kind of tell you the origin and say, "Nightman, he can listen to things on the airwaves of evil." And that's how he fights crime. The whole room just started laughing, and you just saw the guy's face just like lose everything. He just realized that moment nothing worked, and he had a.
This is the guy that played the saxophone. Is that Nightmare?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Based on a
The Valiant comic.
Valiant. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, I think it was Malibu.
Was it Malibu? I also thought it was Valiant. Hang on.
It's all the same people doing it.
Marvel
It was
owns
just the
them all
same
now.
guys.
Well, Malibu, yeah, it might actually be because I think Jim Shooter left Marvel to go do Valiant, so it may have like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
Mal-
Ultraverse. That's where I'm getting
Ultraverse.
confused. Yeah, Ultraverse.
Okay.
Do you want to know something really? This is bizarre. Do you know who one of the co-creators is of Nightman?
Oh,
I'm going to say this name. It's not going to make any fucking sense.
what?
Steve Englehart. Yeah.
That's got to be art only. That's got to be art
You
only.
think?
I bet you he designed him, but there's no way he wrote that origin for him.
Okay. All right. No. Oh, fuck. It says written by Steve Englehart.
So there you go.
Frequency of Evil.
Holy shit! Did he just need like to pay some bills? What was happening?
Hey, get that money.
Wow.
No.
Wow. All right.
Everyone thought
Well-
Image was going to be the Ultraverse, Valiant, all these things before Image.
Man, wild.
I think that's gonna bring us to a close of the show. There's a few more. Maybe I'll drop them in the comments of the video.
I love the Golden Girls one. Like Jeff's Golden Girls reboot, I'm fascinated with.
Oh, did you?
Oh,
you mean
you
do
wanna-
Golden
you
Girls
wanna
real
pitch
quick?
it? Yeah,
Yeah,
you wanna
Golden
pitch it
Girls
real quick?
reboot. Just to modernize it a little bit, I've got basically I just got the cast. So I have Rose, who was originally played by Betty White,
God,
Molly Shannon.
So good.
Blanche is the taller
Mhm.
Mary Louise Parker, because I think Mary Louise Parker has that kind of southerny.
Yeah.
Blanche was the southern sexy one, so
Rue
Mary Louise
McClanahan.
Parker's Rue McClanahan. Thank
Yeah.
you. Dorothy is Jane Lynch,
That is perfect fucking casting. Oh my god.
and then Dorothy's mom Sophia will be played by Rhea Perlman.
Also perfect casting. I mean, this is A plus plus. Solid.
I would put money down for this show.
Yeah,
It's dark and gritty, right? Like
it's
they're
dark and
closing
gritty,
down
100% dark and gritty.
They're closing down the retirement home. They lost it to like
It's actually
Yes, the
a
group.
backdoor pilot from your Mayberry, which is very weird, but
Oh, like at the end of the first episode, you just hear the whistle from the killer from Mayberry.
that's so good. That's so good. I do want to make a quick pitch for reviving Kolchak, the Night Stalker.
Yeah, I like that one.
Only, but here's the key to my pitch, because some people will be like, well, that was X-Files, and they're not wrong. But my pitch is it's actually a period piece. You keep it in the 70s, because I feel like the horror and the terror in that show comes from the fact that you don't have a computer or the internet or cell phones. It is very on the ground. And so you've got to keep it set in that time period. So, and I have no
Get me
idea.
a phone book.
Yeah, no, exactly. Phone booths, even. But I have no idea
Library.
who could possibly replace what's his face as Kolchak. That's
Gavin,
yeah.
Gavin.
Yes,
Is it-
the dad from A Christmas Story. God, what the fuck is his name? Anyway, no, not that Christmas Story.
Oh.
Darren McGavin.
Oh,
Peter McGavin. Okay, thanks.
Peter McGavin. Got it.
Yeah. But anyway,
All right.
That's one
Clay,
pitch.
do you want to pitch one last one since everybody else did?
Shit. I want a Planet of the Apes TV series since we're getting the new.
ooh,
We had a Planet of the Apes TV series in the 70s. We're gonna have this new ape film that's under, I guess, is it under Disney? Does Disney own 20th
I
Century
think
Fox?
so. It's all part of that Disney Marvel.
If you can do a Mandalorian series, give me a Planet of the Apes series with ape and man working together in a society, trying to make it work, and everyone trying to tear it down. That's the main concept I want to see.
Did y'all see those apes running around horses in San Francisco?
And Venice
I did see
Beach,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love this old school marketing where it's just like shit running around and people having to catch pictures of it because we're not there. I want to see him downtown Dallas, but I'm scared people would just shoot him.
Yeah.
All right. To close out the show, instead of the outro, we're just gonna watch